Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Josh. This is Native Nomads, and today we are going to discuss every single modification I have done to the Subaru Outback Wilderness so far. Everything, a complete walk around. I promise you will not have to look at my face the entire time. It is cold outside, but I took a bunch of B-roll shots, a bunch of things to show you each product specifically as I go through them, and hopefully help you in your build. If you're doing a Subaru Outback Wilderness build, or you just got one, or even if you've had one for a long time and you already got a bunch of stuff done to it, you may get some new ideas for your vehicle. We've done a lot here. There's kind of a lot to go over. I'm going to try to keep this video as short as possible. Before we get into everything, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of this video, that is Rallytech. Rallytech provides just about everything that you can imagine for your Subaru or your Subaru Outback Wilderness. Take a look at the link in the description. Go over there. I don't get paid if you buy anything, but they have a whole host of different pieces of equipment, lifts, skid plates, all kinds of stuff. I think it is a beneficial place for you to visit if in fact you are looking for any type of modifications and things that you want to do to your vehicle. All of that said, we have a lot to talk about. We have been building this thing for just over a year now, and I venture to say that it's pretty well complete. There's not a lot of stuff that I feel I need to do to this vehicle to have it go do the things I want it to do. The one thing I would do differently, and the one thing I want on this vehicle, is a winch bumper, a bumper with a winch. I know the Warn option is there. I have spoken to a couple of people who have done that. They've put it on their vehicle, and it's fine, but it's not perfect. I want it to be a perfect fit. I want it to look clean. I want the winch to be hidden. That's what I want, and that is what is stopping me from taking this vehicle to the extreme limit, is because if you don't have a winch, your options are somewhat limited, especially if nobody else is with you. Now, I am speaking with a company out of California that may be interested in putting a winch bumper together for people with a Subaru Outback or a Subaru Outback Wilderness. They've done them for several vehicles. I spoke to them this week. So this is what I need from you. If that is an interest of yours, please leave a comment, like the video. It will help tremendously for me to convince these guys to invest the money in creating this winch bumper for people like you and me. I know I would buy it instantaneously. That's what I try to explain to them, but I'm going to need everyone's help that watches this video to persuade them to invest the money to build this winch. So, all right, let's talk about everything we've done. We're going to start up front. We're going to work our way back. We're going to go through every single component. And also, there is a link for our website in the description. Go press that link. It'll take you to our website. Click Subaru Outback Wilderness, and it has a full build sheet on everything that we've done. There are links to each product. Some of them are affiliate links. Other ones are not affiliate links, but it has links to purchase each one of the products that is on the Subaru Outback Wilderness. I try not to leave hundreds of links in the description because I think it just gets kind of confusing and it looks bad. But just click the website, go to our website, click Subaru Outback Wilderness, and you will see every single thing that we've done with links for you to purchase if in fact you wish to do so. Stay tuned. All right, we're going to try to nail this in one go. I do not want to have to get up and press stop recording, start recording again, so here it goes. Starting off at the very, very tip of the vehicle, which you guys have probably seen, and if you haven't, I will link that video right up here. I think it's on one of the two sides. I believe it's this one, and it will show you the video of our Rallytech skid plates installed. We installed the front skid and the mid-engine skid. That was not a tremendously hard process, and I am happy that I did it. There are a few things that you need to know when you're purchasing skid plates. I don't want to get too far into it, but the thickness of the skid plate does make a big difference. Had I known at the time that the Rallytech skids were only an 1/8 inch and not a 3/16, or vice versa, yeah, an 1/8 and 3/16, I would have probably gone with a different skid. The more protection, the better. This is totally fine. My Subaru Outback Wilderness has become our storm chasing vehicle. It is not so much of an off-road vehicle, but I am going to need protection when I'm out there doing silly stuff and putting myself in probably a little bit of danger, but there should be some fantastic photos that come out of it, so hopefully it'll all be worth it. But we did the front skid and the mid-engine skid. That's all I have up front. I do have a auxiliary battery system as well, and that's not up front, but all the components are up front. So what I did was I purchased off of Amazon a basically an alternator switch that charges my auxiliary battery that is in the rear of the vehicle, that is placed inside a box. It is inside a front runner box, and everything powers from the front of the vehicle to the rear of the vehicle, charging that second battery. Once my primary battery has reached the voltage that it is acceptable to have, it will start transferring power back to my secondary battery. Now, also up front, what we have is an Aux Beam 6-gang auxiliary light controller. That's a mouthful. But I went with the trigger system in the very beginning. And if you guys have been here for a long time or you're brand new to the channel, the auxiliary light controller that I used originally was the trigger 6-shooter. And it was a Bluetooth connection to the controller that was wireless and the module that was underneath the hood. Well, I was actually storm chasing one night and I was coming home late and it was dark, so I had my lights on, and I usually do that on country roads when I'm coming home, and my lights wouldn't turn off. And then I turned my compressor on, it allowed my compressor to turn on, and then my compressor wouldn't turn off. So immediately when I got home, I ordered something different. The Aux Beam is a wired option, so you do have to fish a wire from wherever the controller is all the way to the battery. That was kind of a pain in the butt, but it was worth it because now I have never had an issue with that Aux Beam controller. I threw out the trigger system. I put a trigger system 6-shooter on my Power Wagon, pulled that out, put an Aux Beam in, and I also have an Aux Beam 6-gang in the van. Everything I have for the auxiliary light controllers is Aux Beam across all 3 vehicles. I don't have any type of relationship with them, but it's $150, and it has worked absolutely perfect ever since I put it in. So what that Aux Beam controller does for me is it controls my my pillar lights. I have a light on either side of the vehicle, as well as my light bar on top and my compressor that I have mounted in the rear in the box with my auxiliary battery. I'm trying to go fast to kind of give you guys a lot of information, but if there's any questions on any of this stuff, please leave a comment. I get to them every single morning. I will answer your question. If you want to get with us on Instagram, if you think sometimes that's a quicker way to get a question answered, please do that as well. And also subscribe to the channel. It helps us out a lot. Every new subscriber, liking the video, doing all that stuff. But the battery system that I have in the back, the compressor that is in the back is all ran off the Aux Beam. What I have is an ARB single compressor. I have the dual in the Power Wagon and I have the single in the Outback Wilderness. The reason I did not go with another dual, A, is the price. They're much more expensive to get the dual compressor. And by dual, what I mean is there's 2 barrels on the dual compressor and 1 barrel on the single compressor. So it doesn't create as much air as quickly, but the tires on the Subaru Outback Wilderness are they're much smaller than the 37s I have on the Power Wagon. So they don't take near the amount of time for me to pump them up. So I'm able to pump them up just about the same amount of time with a single compressor from ARB. That is all wired to my main battery all the way up in the front of the vehicle. So I had to run a large gauge wire from the very front all the way to the rear. And I had to do that twice because I installed the compressor pretty much right out of the gate. I had that on our very first trip last year out to the West Coast, Joshua Tree, all of that. I will put that playlist up here. If you're new to the channel, you can watch through those videos to really see what this vehicle could do. Before I put a lift on it, I really kind of just, I wanted to see what it was capable of. But that compressor is rock solid. If you guys are in the market for a compressor, there are other options out there. By no means am I saying it's the only one, but it is the most trusted. For me, I have them in every single vehicle. I've only used ARB. Yes, they're more pricey, but I just trust it. So sometimes I'm willing to pay a little bit more to get something that is better, or at least functions better in my personal opinion. So I had to run a bunch of wire all the way to the rear to get that done. Now, also up front, as we move up, we talk about the roof rack. This is a question I've been asked recently by people that were patronizing me about having a roof rack and the fact that crossbars are the same thing. The reality is the Prinsu roof rack is, in my opinion, the absolute best looking and most versatile roof rack for the Subaru Outback Wilderness. That's because the 80/20 aluminum extrusion, those bars that you can move around, you can set your roof up specific to how you want your roof to be set up. If you have not seen the Prinsu rack video, I will put that up here and you will get a better feel for what that Prinsu rack looks like and how it goes together. It is a very simple install. Some people worry about having to drill through your roof. You don't actually have to drill through your roof. You just have to bore out the holes that are already there. People have asked me that 100 times. I have never had any water intrusion. Nothing has ever leaked, but I went the extra mile to make sure that the water intrusion wouldn't happen. So take note and be careful with what you do there, because you got to keep the water out of your roof. Now, on the Prinsu roof rack, what we have is a 4-wheel drive King 40-inch light bar. I was looking for light bars for it, for the Prinsu rack, and there's a lot of options. And some of those options are like $1,000. And I'm sure that a $1,000 light bar has probably more lumens and is probably more durable than a $150 light bar, but I can buy 7 $150 light bars for the same price that I can buy one $1,000 light bar. So if they break, I will just take it off and put a new one on, and I will go through that process as many times up until 7. Once I get to 7, I'll probably buy a more expensive light bar, but I've had it on there for 3 months, taking it all over the place. It's been in hail, rain, all of that. Never failed me once. That link is also in the description if you're looking for a much cheaper option than what other companies offer. Now, on top of the Prinsu rack, we have a set of traction boards, and those are ones that I've had for a really long time. I got them off Amazon. They were inexpensive, and the reason I'm not hugely concerned about them being inexpensive is simply because the Subaru is not nearly as heavy of a vehicle as the Power Wagon or the van. So to spend the $400-ish on a pair of genuine Max Tracks, for that vehicle, I just don't think it's absolutely necessary. So I just went with a cheaper version off of Amazon. Again, that stuff is all on the website. Now, another question that I've got asked in terms of the Prinsu rack is, how do I mount my traction boards? Well, what I did is I just went to Home Depot or Lowe's, I'm sorry, and I got a long 1/4-20 head bolt and slid it right in the aluminum extrusion openings, and I was able to get fasteners, just the twist fasteners that hold it down. It cost me all of $15, and it was much simpler than having to go and purchase a set of actual traction board mounts, which are anywhere from $50 to $150. So that is another way you can save money, is kind of being creative with the way that you mount things to your vehicle. The 80/20 extrusion that comes with the Prinsu rack fits a 1/4-20 bolt head in it perfectly. You just have to make sure on Amazon when you purchase the right handle that will fit that 1/4-20 bolt. They are a little thin, but I've had no issues with it thus far, and it cost me $15. So if I need to take them off, it's not a huge problem for me to have to do that. Moving behind the traction boards is the Rome Adventure Co. 95-liter rugged case. Now, I bought 2 of those, and I also bought their mounts for the cases specifically. If I could do it again, I would get the shorter cases. I think they're the 80-liter or the 85-liter. They would just be like shorter, not as tall and not as long. I don't need the ones that I have. They're really bad for the gas mileage. It just doesn't do much. I don't carry much in there on a regular basis. So I am going to take those off until I absolutely need them. But if I could go back, I would have bought more low profile boxes to kind of slim that roof down and make it better on my gas mileage. But I did use their mounts and the 95 liter rugged cases on top for any type of additional storage that I might need when we travel. Moving back up front just a little bit, I have my rigid, I don't know the exact name, the link is in the description on our website. I don't remember which model I got, but most of the lights I use are rigid. This box you see right here is a company sent me some off-road lights, some amber off-road lights, and it is the best packaging I have ever received a light in. They look so good and they are so inexpensive. I will be doing a video on that soon, but that is not today. I am super thrilled about these lights that are sitting right back here in that box. But the rigid lights, they just perform. Yes, they're expensive, but I have been able to swap these lights throughout all of my vehicles. My wife's Jeep had them, my Gladiator had them, Subaru has them, as well as the Power Wagon has them, and the van has rigids on, and I've only bought the lights once, and I've just been recycling them throughout all of the different vehicle builds that we've done on the channel. So rigid is a great light. I did get the light brackets from LP Adventure. LP Adventure sells light brackets specific for the Subaru Outback Wilderness. I believe Rallytech does as well. You just check their websites. The links are in the description, so you can go right there. I'm sorry, the links are on our website, so you can go right there and check them out. The rock sliders. The rock sliders I got are from LP Adventure. And in retrospect, if I could, I would go back and get different rock sliders. The reason for that is because when I put my new skid plates on, I had to use a grinder to grind down the standoff on the skid plate so the bolt that was only, 5 or 6 inches long would be able to fit into the slot, into the threaded slot. So they're also not, I would not call them true rock sliders. The way they mount, there's a lot of play in them, and you can stand on them. They're stout, but they're not a true rock slider that is mounted to the frame of the vehicle and can just take a beating. So I would be careful with that if you're thinking about going the LP Adventure route for your rock sliders. I do like mine, no issues with them. They have not given me any problems. In some of our videos, you can see where those rock sliders are taking a beating. I would just have gone a different route had I known then what I know now. Now, moving past the rock sliders into the rear of the vehicle, we have the rigged Ultra Swing. Now, this is one of those pieces that is really expensive, but when you go bigger in your tires, and we'll discuss tires and wheels in a minute, when you go bigger in your tires to the size that I went, I have a 245/65/17 tire on my LP Adventure wheels. And those are BFG KO2s. I guess we can just go ahead and get the tires out of the way because I'm talking about them. BFG KO2s and a 245/65/17 with a 17/8" wheel from LP Adventure. I forget exactly what the wheel is called, but it is a +35 offset, I believe. And it is the largest offset that you can get on their website. Now, the rigged Ultra Swing is necessary if you want to carry a spare. Not everyone needs to carry a spare, but I know that I want to have a spare at all times, and I want to have a full-size spare because there's nothing worse than being on a trail, having to change your buddy's tire, or you have to change your tire, and you're riding on something that is not intended for the area in which you are, and you have to get out of there, go get your tire replaced. So I want to be able to swap my tire, stay on the trail, and not be concerned about it, and keep on moving down the road. So that's where the rigged Ultra Swing came in. Now, I did go above and beyond for the rigged Ultra Swing. It is a beast of a product. It is very heavy, it is very durable, and it can take a beating. I went with the Rotopax gas mount as well as their Ultra Swing flip down table. The flip down table for me has been useful so many times simply because I can eat back there when I'm taking pictures. I can set my camera down. There's a lot of uses for that table that I knew it was going to be useful, but I didn't know I would use it as much as I did. But that Rigged Ultra Swing is not an inexpensive product, but it is made in America. It's designed in America. It is a good company, and I freaking love it. I know there's a lot of people that have gone with other brands that say they're fantastic, and that's probably true. I don't know if this is the most expensive. I know it is a pricey item, but it gives me the ability to carry a full-size spare. It swings out of my way, and it can take a beating. So that is what I use on the rear of the vehicle. Now, when you start talking about putting that much weight inside the vehicle on the outside of the vehicle, that rigged Ultra Swing as well as a spare tire has got to be 150, 175 pounds, maybe more. And then I have the compressor, the spare battery. Sometimes I carry a fridge in there, and we got gear in there. Whatever we're carrying around, your suspension will take a whooping. The stock suspension from Subaru is much softer than what we went with from Ironman. Ironman, we went with a Spec C rear, and then I believe a medium load in the front. So the Spec C is the heavy load, and the medium is what we put in the front. So I still maintain some semblance of a comfortable experience. The Spec C shocks, I don't see any sag, and there's 200 pounds roughly hanging off the back of the Subaru at all times. I never take that rigged Ultra Swing off. There is no suspension sag. I've loaded it down. We went on a camping trip with the teardrop before the teardrop was sold, and that was towed on top of the rigged Ultra Swing. There was a small amount of sag, nothing to be concerned with. And it's just the Ironman suspension system is a fantastic product for the price. I know that there are more expensive options out there, and I have heard mixed reviews about all of them. But what I know is Ironman across the Subaru community has been doing it for a long time, and their products can take a whooping. Their customer service, from what I hear, is not the best. And when they ship you everything, it's not very clear what the heck you got. But everything else in terms of performance and its ability to take on the trails that we have gone on and just daily driving, it is a stiffer ride, but the Ironman suspension has been fantastic. Inside the vehicle, there is not a lot done. The only thing I have are some different mounts for different devices. I have phone mount, and then I have a mount for my GoPro. I don't use GoPro, by the way. I absolutely despise GoPro. I use everything DJI because every GoPro I've ever gotten has failed me, overheated, or not worked. So I am a strictly DJI person, but GoPro just seems to be the action camera name. So I have that mount, and then I have a mount for my Garmin InReach Mini. My Garmin InReach Mini is basically a satellite communication device. I can text through it, and I can just know where I am. And if I get lost, I can generally find my way back. As long as I've been recording my track, at least that makes things much easier if you've been recording your track. So that's really all I have on the inside. I haven't touched anything else. The same floor mats, same seat covers. You know, I've done nothing other than run the wires for the battery and the compressor, as well as run the wires for my Aux Beam 6-gang light controller. Now, the last part I want to touch on is with that spare battery that I have in the rear of the vehicle, I bought 2 new batteries so they matched identically, just because I was reading some reviews about, batteries in different sizes and capacities. So I just wanted 2 very specific batteries that were exactly the same, so there was no issue. And even better, if something happens to my primary starter battery, I can take my spare out, pop it in there, and I should be good to go. Now, I did run with a Blue Sea Systems. I ran some DC power over to the rear, the driver's side rear of the vehicle inside, so I could plug my refrigerator in, I could charge some devices, I can check the battery voltage. Nothing crazy, but I did run some wires over there just to give me a little bit extra power and a little bit more opportunities to charge devices and run my refrigerator, so I didn't have to tote around a big power station. So that has worked really well. All of that stuff was super easy. There's also a video on how I did all of that. I will put that up here so you can see how to put an auxiliary battery in your Subaru Outback Wilderness. That's it. My mouth is dry. I rambled now for 20 minutes, and I think we covered everything. So if you guys have any questions, like I said previously, please leave your questions in the comments. Let me know about the bumper. That thing would be such a lifesaver for me. But more importantly, share the video, like the video, subscribe, come along for all of our adventures. I know not everybody loves van life and all of that, but it's good to have each and every one of you be a part of what we're trying to do here. And we are set to leave on our trip, headed west, living out of the van for a month, leaving in 4 days. So if I don't see you for a while, that's why. Have a good one.